Hi, this is Kirk, the bariatric carnivore. Healthy is not normal, at least not in the United States anymore. I mean, when you look at all the statistics, we are not a healthy people. Less than 12% of Americans are considered metabolically healthy. And a metabolically healthy person is somebody that doesn't have one of the 5 following conditions. Number 1, their waist circumference is normal, not big. And you can find that out with a tape measure. What's your blood pressure? Most people have elevated blood pressures. We have high triglyceride levels. And that's one of those things that can only be taken care of through diet and exercise. We have, there's no pills that are going to change and make your triglyceride levels correct. We often have very low HDL, the so-called good cholesterol. That's low, and again, there's no pill to increase your HDL. You're only going to get that through diet. And what's your fasting blood glucose level? And high fasting blood glucose level means you're inflamed. And the reason why all these markers are so important is because they're markers of inflammation. They're pre-diabetes. They are inflaming your arteries, which means there's going to be cracks over time. They're not going to happen overnight. They're not going to kill you overnight. But over time, as you get more and more diseased, you're going to have problems. And your arteries are going to get damaged, and when they get damaged, they crack, the epithelium level cracks, the body sends in cholesterol and other things to try to heal it, and it forms like what almost resembles a pimple over it. And when those pimples break, if they break, you got a problem, because when that stuff that's in that artery pimple comes out, it forms a clot. And if that clot lodges in your heart, you have a heart attack. If it lodges in your brain, you have a stroke. The number 1 symptom of heart disease, unfortunately, is a fatal heart attack. The number 1 creator of long-term disability in the United States are strokes. So it's important to understand this very important syndrome. And the fact that only 12% of Americans don't have it tells you about the state of health in the country. But I guess a good question to ask is, what's health? And I love the Webster dictionary definition of it: physical and mental well-being, freedom from disease, pain, or defect. And that's a pretty good definition of being healthy. Unfortunately, most Americans don't meet it. And what's really odd, though, is how many people think they're healthy. How many people are healthy? Well, only 12% are metabolically healthy when they looked at it 5 years ago. And it may have even gotten worse in recent years. Tufts University did a study just last year on it, and they found that less than 7% had good metabolic health. But at the same time, this is what's fascinating to me: 86% of Americans think they are healthy. Despite the evidence, despite the fact that only 10% are at normal body weight, despite the fact that the majority of Americans are on at least 1 prescription drug. When you're over 70, you're on over to close to 10. I mean, it is horrible. How can you declare yourself healthy if you're on prescription medicine to take care of chronic diseases? I mean, to me, one of the best markers that I finally got healthy was when I finally ended all my prescription drugs. When my weight got to normal, and when my blood pressure went to normal, and I no longer had to take blood pressure medicine on a regular basis, I thought about that point, I was getting healthy. But most people have these problems, and they're ignoring them, and they're calling themselves healthy. But then again, look, do the math. Half the population's below average. I think about 85%, according to one study that I saw, 85% of all people think that they're better than average drivers, which is statistically impossible. But why does this make a difference? Well, frankly, look at all the recommendations for diet. The RDAs for how much vitamins and minerals you should get are designed for healthy adults, but we're not healthy. Our dietary recommendations are out for healthy adults. And they say a healthy adult should eat a balanced diet of all these different things. But if only 12 to 8% of the population is healthy, how can you prescribe the quote-unquote healthy diet for healthy adults? They're not meeting the criteria. Very few of us are healthy enough to eat what would be considered a healthy diet when you think about it. And that's the problem. If we're building our recommendations for a population group of less than 12%, we got a problem. And maybe it's time you start realizing that, hey, when the government recommends something for healthy adults, it probably doesn't apply to you statistically. Maybe you're different. Maybe you are metabolically healthy. Maybe you're not on any type of drug at the moment. But what are the markers? Do you know your triglyceride levels? Do you know your HDL? Do you know what your fasting glucose level is? These are knowable things. Don't speculate and guess on things that are knowable. Don't guess, test. Find out if you are healthy before you start accepting what is considered normal in a healthy diet. And frankly, one of the worst statistics I saw when I was looking for the information on this stuff is less than 3% of Americans engage in what would be considered a healthy lifestyle. They're eating a diet, of real food. They're exercising adequately. They're getting enough sleep. Less than 3%. That's what's driving our habits, our lifestyle is driving bad health. The good news is it can change. You don't have to be unhealthy because of your lifestyle changes. And frankly, that's what this channel is about, is to try to help people get as healthy as possible. And what's really fascinating to me when I really dig into this stuff is really, frankly, how relatively simple it is. I mean, switching to a keto or a carnivore diet just simplifies eating meals. It's as simple as clearing out your cabinets of the junk that you just grab by habit and start eating real food. I only have to eat a couple of times a day. I mean, I eat, eggs and meat around 10. I eat until I'm full. And then when I get hungry again later on in the day, I eat some more meat. And to me, frankly, it's delicious. I am a bit of a foodie. I don't just want to have food that's just fuel. I want to have food that's fun and satisfying. And I find that I can do that too. But it also helps me become more healthy. And to me, the proof's in the pudding. I mean, when you look at people who constantly reverse years of metabolic disease, that get off of medications, I mean, frankly, why don't we reward doctors that help patients get off a drug? We don't. We only reward doctors when they put you on another medication. That's idiocy. That ain't making you healthy. That's making you more dependent on the system. And if you want to get off the system, please hit the like, subscribe button, join this community, put your comments below. If you're making yourself healthy, encourage other people to help them to realize, it's possible. Or, I'm not there yet, but I'm making progress. Let other people know that it is working for you, that you're changing diet and lifestyle, so that other folks know. So put those in the comments below. Hit the like and subscribe button so other people can hear this message, so YouTube will share it with more folks. This is Kirk, the Bariatric Carnivore. We try to put out a message every day, and I'll be back tomorrow.